Well, good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. Programming note. We are still in the process of building our outdoor studio and set here. We're getting ready for the draft. We literally only have a week and a half to go. And I know you guys really haven't gotten used to seeing this set the way it's been thus far, because I haven't really used it that much. But it's going to look a lot different come draft night, because it won't just be me here. In fact, I've been busy as a beaver, so to speak, building some more pieces that actually go out here, so that way we can have a better experience. With that being said, all the wiring and everything else out here is new for this set, and there's still a lot of bugs that I have to get out. So I gotten an email earlier today that said that the volume on my regular videos seems to be too low. So let me know how the volume sounds in here. Just leave a comment in here. Say, hey, Mark, it's fine. It's cool. You know, you need to turn it up a little bit. There's a delicate balance between having it too low and having it too high. If it's too high, it'll peak out and you'll get a and literally, you know, I'll be kind of like, and hey, you know, you don't want that. You do not want that. Now, before I get on to the Dallas Cowboys, I have to give a big shout out to the JMU Dukes. Shout out to them, because in the FCS championship, they will be for the 7th year in a row in the playoffs. Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? Yeah, we're talking about football playoffs. They defeated University of Richmond, the Spiders, which were always, when I grew up, our arch nemesis. We couldn't stand the University of Richmond, those Spiders. Man, we hated it. We just wanted to crunch. We really did want to crunch. But anyway, be that as it may, I digress. They will be taking on in-state Virginia Military Institute, which is literally only about 45 minutes down the road in Lexington. But they'll be taking them on at JMU. They went 5-0. They're the number 3 seed. And shout out to you guys. We might even live stream the game come next weekend, because, hey, it's football. Also, too, shout out to James Madison High School, my high school, which ended up beating Wakefield last week in the first round of the playoffs. They will be going to state. They kicked some more ass. So shout out to you, Mike Colbert, my former tailback, who I used to block for. So definitely James Madison's are definitely on a roll. Now, on a roll. It's crazy time right now. Everybody's got their mock drafts, their thoughts. Everybody is literally trying to figure out how to pick a guy's brain and figure out if they've got the moxie to become great. Everybody's trying to find something that may be a negative thing or trait about them, so that way, if they fail, they can say, see, I told you, this is the reason. I mean, we heard about Justin Fields, that maybe he's not going to be a great quarterback because he played baseball. And maybe his focus isn't solely on just football. Really? You guys know that Russell Wilson basically plays baseball in the spring, right? Every spring, right? You get that. Hasn't seemed to bother him any. Trevor Lawrence was talking about how he internalizes everything. He gets his motivation from inside. And people tried to turn that around and basically say, oh, maybe he doesn't really need football. Maybe he's just kind of, he's just really good at it, and so on. Stop. Just stop. The reality is, it doesn't matter what the Wonderlings test was. It doesn't matter necessarily what they did on the 40-yard, the 40-yard dash or the shuttle run and things like that. The bottom line is, either they're a football player or not. And you can look and judge and all that stuff, and you can find that the highway is literally littered with guys that had the great Wonderlings test, ended up being able to run the 40, had the prototypical body, had everything that you looked at and said, that's the guy. As Mel Kiper would always say, can't miss players. Oh, my God. When I hear Mel Kiper say, can't miss players, I said go the other direction. Because this mother humper, man.
Enough is enough. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Everybody strap in.
Yeah, it's time to open some damn windows, because they miss. It's really a crapshoot. You can think that you've got everything together just right. They're going to congratulate you and tell you that you won the draft. Your team is so much better to only see them fall on their face. And that, my friends, is why we love football. Now, it seems like Patrick Surtain's dad wants Patrick Surtain to go to the Cowboys. Patrick Surtain, some people say, is the best defender in the draft. And by looking at the draft, he may be the first defender going off the board. Teams are desperate for quarterbacks. I pointed out how moving up for a quarterback, you got about a 20% success rate for teams that have traded up into the first round at getting the guy. 20%. 1 in 5. Wow. So it's best not to play that game. And with that being the case, we've got a number of teams that definitely need to upgrade. Chicago, Washington, maybe Carolina, New England, Denver. All of these teams may decide we want to move up. Now, I want to play a little clip for you because, well, let's face it. I like the big screen over here, okay? I like being able to play stuff on the big screen because it's kind of cool. We're outside. We got a big screen. We got the sound system. Why not use it? So, let's go.
Jerry goes a little Jerry on us here and goes up to get this dynamic playmaker that Kyle Pitts that everyone's in love with.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with Matt. And I think Matt and I, we all love Kyle Pitts, but to go from 10 to 4, and the key here is who has the number 1 pick in the draft right now? For all intents and purposes, it's the Atlanta Falcons at 4. So if you move down to 10, you're losing the quarterback. You're obviously not going to get Kyle Pitts, so you're taking yourself out of that. Dallas moves up and gets a great player. Hey, we'd all love to have Kyle Pitts, but what about stopping people? Defensive line, cornerback, that's what the Cowboys need. I think if they get an offer and can get more selections, they have a lot of holes, then you do that. But I think it would be a luxury move. It would certainly be a move for Atlanta that I don't think would make sense, as well as not making sense for the Dallas Cowboys.
And so it depends, I guess, on the price in most things. Jeff Darlington, just having followed them the way you have over the years, give me a sense of how you could see this thing playing out.
So I definitely understand the idea of Jerry Jones being infatuated with Kyle Pitts, as Chris Mortensen, who's always right on this stuff, reported. But the one thing I would say is what often happens when Jerry Jones gets into the war room on draft day is that he has cooler heads around him, like Stephen Jones, saying, we can't do that. We can't afford to give everything up to go get Kyle Pitts and still field a decent defense this year. So generally speaking, I find that the Cowboys rationalize themselves when they get in that war room and they convince Jerry Jones, the romantic that he is, that it's best to just sit where they're at, pick the best player, defensive player available, and move on with their day. So that's what I anticipate will ultimately happen here.
All right, so Lewis, let's put you in that
Lewis
spot.
Reddick.
Now, you're the person advising Jerry Jones. You're seated to his side, and he's saying to you, what should I do here, Lewis? We're up to the 4th pick. Kyle Pitts is sitting there. Everyone keeps telling me there hasn't been a player like this in the draft in forever. He's a game-changing kind of player. What would you say to him?
I'd say, look, man, we're trying to build a football team. I understand that you are enamored with this young man's physical skills. And look, I'm enamored with his physical skills. I sit there and I watch him. I go, I'd have no shot in covering this guy. He's too big. He's too fast. He's too unique. But I would say this. I would sit pat. I'd say, look, let's just sit pat right here at 10, and let's just let the draft board come to us. Because really, when we're talking about building a football team, do you remember how bad we were on defense? Do you remember? Okay, and look, we need to build this thing front to back, inside out, all right? We need to make sure that on the defensive line, we've got some people, and let's just hope that there's someone who at 10 we feel as though can really provide value for us on the defensive side of the ball in particular. We don't want to force it, but that's where I would be looking, whether it be a pass rusher, whether it be an interior player, whether it be a corner. And I know at 10 it would probably be rich as far as the pass rushers and the interior defensive players are concerned on the defensive line. Then corner needs to be the position that we need to look at. Or we need to trade down and see if we can get better value and then pick up a pass rusher or an interior defensive lineman at that point. Like Jalen Phillips, for instance, as long as the medical pans out. Because that is what our Achilles heel is right now. That's what we need from a team-building perspective. That's what we need in order to truly be, once again, Super Bowl type of contenders. Not off-season draft winners, but Super Bowl contenders. That's what we're after. So let's just kind of like sit back and let our board talk to us, and let's just play it out as it comes to us.
Which is exactly what Mel has them doing, which is trading back a few spots. And super quickly, Mel, it's a good year to need defensive players. You only have 2 of them going in the first 14. So if you need defense, this is a good year for you.
They're going to go right in this area. And I thought for Dallas it would make sense. You have Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech, who would have been way up there had it not been for that back surgery, the second one. And then you have Patrick Surtain, second Alabama, and J.C. Horn, South Carolina. So by moving 10 to 15, you're guaranteed that probably 2 of those 3, at worst, 1 of those 3 is still on the board.
No, it is a good situation. If that,
I'm not much for, the Cowboys have done a lot of moving and taking injured players, figuring that we're going to go to the scratch and dent pile and we're going to get some people at a bargain basement price. I'm not into that one at all. I'm done with that. Give me somebody who I know is ready to go right now. I don't want a project. I need help right now. And the thing that Louis Riddick definitely pointed out is, that would be cool. That'd be a luxury to be able to say that, we won the draft, that we got another playmaker. And don't get me wrong. CeeDee Lamb was the second best number-wise statistically last year wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, that guy that Philly 500 didn't want, whose ass. And had Dak Prescott stayed healthy, he would have definitely been well over 1,000 yards. I'm not disagreeing that CeeDee Lamb is definitely the real deal. If you think about if you had to let another wide receiver go because of money issues, that having a CeeDee Lamb, who's still on his rookie deal and will be for a couple more years, was a great move. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. But here's the problem. When you think of Kansas City's offense, dynamic as can be, Pat Mahomes, the real deal, even though he did have 20 interceptable passes last year. Just saying. Just pointing that out. A lot of y'all think that he never throws a bad pass, but he does. Just like everybody else. Believe me, his crap stinks just like everybody else's. When you think about how great Kansas City's offense was, you do agree with that, right? You do agree that Kansas City's offense was incredible. Kansas City's offense averaged 29.6 points a game. It's beautiful. The Dallas Cowboys defense averaged, which got better because we were playing ass teams, as Philly 500 would say, going down the stretch, being Cincinnati, Washington, Giants, Eagles, 49ers. Bad teams. With that, we still gave up the exact same number that Kansas City gave up. That Kansas City scored, 29.6. So if you think Kansas City's offense is great, then you've got to look and say the Dallas Cowboys defense is terrible. And that's where we need to go. I don't want to poo-poo people's thoughts and desires to get Kyle Pitts. Yeah, if we were, a defense that was capable and so on, I'd say, hell yeah, let's do that. But if the opportunity arises to move back because one of these teams is going to reach for a quarterback, you have to do that. I am a strength in numbers type guy. I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I'm giving you my opinion and my personal thoughts because I'd rather have more picks and more opportunities to hit on guys. Because you look at quarterbacks that were drafted before Dak Prescott. Dak got picked in the 4th round. Cowboys lucked out. I don't care how you want to put it. But the reality is you don't expect that to happen, which is why a lot of times you want those extra picks down there because you never know who might be a diamond in the rough that might end up being a great player. That might be a Charles Haley, who, by the way, went to JMU. Just saying. JMU Dukes. That might end up being that guy you didn't think much of. You just grabbed him, and it turns out that guy's a real baller. You want to have an opportunity to be able to get those guys. And if you can get a really good corner and have some more draft capital to maybe go and move back into the first and get a game-changing tackle, to me, that is the coup. But we'll have to wait and see where that all goes. You know, guys, I'm excited. I cannot wait till the draft gets here. We're going to have a ball. We're going to have this set lit up. We're going to have company here. We're going to have some Jobu chicken wings. And, of course, we're going to have you guys right there on the screen if you're our channel member. So, as always, guys,
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
I'll see you guys real soon.